5 stories in 5 minutes or less, number 14, special Valentine's Day edition, story number 1. Donald Trump Jr.'s wife was hospitalized after opening a letter containing an unknown substance. Shortly after this happened, of course, the Dems took to Twitter to bash everything about the Trump family ruthlessly, calling Trump supporters crybabies, and even suggesting that this was a distraction to steal attention away from the Obamas whose portraits were being released today. Speaking of, story number 2. Back in October of 2017, Barack Obama tapped Keyhine Willie to do his portrait, says Rolling Stone, and Obama picks this, quote, brilliant guy, he was coined as being brilliant a couple years ago, as he described in his pictures how he is inspired to do artwork depicting killing whitey. Of course, I'm sure the Obamas took this into consideration when they carefully hand-chose Mr. Wiley to do the paintings, but he didn't do Michelle's, so I guess it's okay. He just did Barry's. At any rate, the backdrop seemed nice, but unfortunately, he actually delegated that work out to the Chinese, because he said, let's face it, he's not going to do all of that. I guess that was just a little bit too much work. But Mom loves him. He takes her to all his parties. Could be because his sexuality is a little confusing. I mean, he says he's a gay black man, but then he also strays occasionally and drifts. Not judging, but let's look at what else he does. Stained glass, young men, more young men in gay positions. I'm starting to see why Barry picked him. Yeah, it gets a little bit clearer. But he looks like he's the man. Well, maybe not. Okay, well, there's the picture, and I guess Barry was pretty happy with it because he looks like he was pretty happy. Now, I know what you're thinking. What were they really shaking on? I'm guessing who gets to be the top. I guess Barry didn't win that one. Speaking of Obama, story number 3. It looks like Senator Grassley and Graham uncover an unusual email sent by Susan Rice to herself on President Trump's Inauguration Day. So on January 20th, 2017, she uses the email to document an event that happened on the 5th in the Oval Office between President Obama and the former FBI Director James Comey and the former Deputy Attorney Sally Yates regarding the Russian interference for the 2016 election. She writes, President Obama began the conversation by stressing his continued commitment to ensuring that every aspect of this issue is handled by the intelligence and law enforcement communities, quote, by the book. The president stressed that he is not asking about, initiating, or instructing anything from a law enforcement perspective. He reiterated that our law enforcement team needs to proceed as it normally would by the book, quote. Naturally, because of the timing and the dates, Grassley and Graham asked a few questions. Now, they're asking her to respond by February the 22nd. These answers should certainly be interesting. Some of these are very basic. Did you send the email yourself? Do you have any reason to dispute the timestamp? When did you first become aware of the FBI's investigation? I'm guessing that she's going to plead the 5th on all of these. Story number 4. Warning, the following images and or content may be disturbing or offensive to some viewers. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Prepare yourselves. Khadij Amin will be the first among many who are going to start trying to normalize pedophilia. They may call it different names, and you can look it up on the Wikipedia, and you can find a whole lot of really weird shit about it. But it is what it is. Any sexual activity with children is disgusting. It is not only disgusting, it is a crime. It is a crime that, if I had my way, would be punishable by long torture and death. Speaking of pedophilia and art, we have the Pederasty. If you really want to know anything about it, you can always look into the WikiLeaks, and his choice of art pretty much sums it right up. In story number 5, the New York Times asks, is Devin Nunes obstructing justice? The answer, you buffoons, is no. Happy Valentine's Day.